Arutz Sheva, Israel National TV, and Or Olam, the Center for Biblical Zionism, present Ari Abramowitz and Jeremy Gimpel.
The world only hears an Israeli voice. We want the world to hear a Jewish voice. We're all part of the same body, and that body is Israel.
It shows Israel in spite, because this is where God hangs out.
Hashem is with us. He's protecting us. He's brought us to the land of Israel, and we are here to stay. Tuesday nights in Jerusalem are never going to be the same again.
Live from the heart of Israel, welcome Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem.
Yerushalayim, tishkach, tishkach, tishkach yemini, im eshkachech, Yerushalayim, tishkach, tishkach, tishkach yemini, im ale Yerushalayim. Tishkach yemini, im eshkachech, Yerushalayim. Tishkach, tishkach, tishkach yemini, im ale Yerushalayim. Arosim chadi.
Welcome.
Shalom, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem. I just got back from a speaking tour. I was there for 10 days all over the United States, every city a different place. On Thursday, I landed in South Carolina, and I was picked up at the airport, rushed, put my bags down, whizzed off to a radio interview. After the radio interview, went back to South Carolina, picked up my tie, put it on, and was on my way to the largest conservative synagogue in Columbia, South Carolina. It was the first time they ever opened their synagogue to an event to the public. And I didn't know who would show, I didn't know what it would be. I heard the week beforehand, a scholar from New York came down, and 8 people showed up in the middle of the week. And this was Thursday, end of the week. I really didn't know what to expect. I walked in and I see 50 Jews. I'm like, well, that's exciting. 50 conservative Jews in South Carolina came to hear about Israel. And then I see 150 non-Jews. The rabbi didn't know what to do. I was kind of shocked. They'd never done anything like this. The hall that they had delegated with me was totally packed, standing room only in the back. And I was like, my goodness, what am I going to do now? Because my message to conservative Jews is totally different than a message to non-Jews. So I guess there are 2 approaches. I said either I can water my message down, and it'll be kind of applicable and acceptable by both sides, or I can just speak directly to the Jews and directly to the non-Jews, and I'll let each other side kind of sit in on what I have to say to both sides. And I decided to go with the second option. And I don't know if you know this about Ari and I, but we're unabashedly Jewish. It doesn't matter who we're speaking to, we just kind of, it's Judaism in your face no matter who we're talking to. And these conservative Jews in South Carolina kind of heard. You know, we said, the reason why the land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people is because God gave us the land of Israel. The reason why the Jews are back in the land of Israel is because God has brought us back to the land of Israel. What was exciting is that all the non-Jews were going, yeah, that's right, all right, amen, amen, brother. And the Jews were shocked. And I would say things like, we're a chosen people. And then the Jews got all uncomfortable. They're like, we're chosen. I don't know. They started like cringing and they didn't know what to do. And then when I saw that they were uncomfortable, I did one of these. Let it really sink in. We are a chosen people to be a light unto the nations. And all of the non-Jews burst out in applaud. And the Jews were shocked. Afterwards, some of them came up to me and said, it was so wonderful to hear a Jew speak about Israel and quote from the Torah. It was so great to hear a Jew not apologizing about his Judaism. I wish we'd stop apologizing all the time. I wish we'd stop apologizing too. And there's a new voice going out of the land of Israel. There's a new generation growing up in the land of Israel. And finally, that light is now taking on the entire world.
Now, why were those Jews cringing? Why is it every time Jeremy said, the chosen people, it was a wince and a cringe and a collar fix? What made them so uncomfortable? Every other nation, every other people, every other religion, they all claim that they're the chosen people, and nobody seems to mind. Yet no matter how often the Jewish people deny it...
Wait, just one second. I don't mean to cut him off. This is kind of breaking away. Just so you all know, this is totally unscripted, by the way. The Japanese think they're the chosen people. The Chinese think they're the chosen people. Catholics think they're the new Israel. Muslims think they're Abraham's inheritance. Everyone thinks they're the chosen people. Only Jews don't think we are. We want to hide from it, and the entire world hates us for it.
You know, there's a funny story that many of us know. It's a famous story. A Jewish woman walks on the train, and she's sitting on the train on 2 seats, opposite 2 other seats, and on walks a man, and he's wearing a suit and a white shirt and a long beard and a brimmed hat, and the woman looks at him and she snorts contemptuously and she says, "You Orthodox Jews, you look like you're from 100 years ago. We're in the 21st century. You make the rest of us look bad. You're embarrassing. You make me sick." And this man said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Amish." I don't know if that's an Amish accent. And do Amish even have an accent? And the woman said to him, Oh, it's so nice the way you hold on to your traditions. You see, Why would that woman resent that Jew, that Orthodox Jew who is outwardly Jewish? Why would she resent him so much? Because she's afraid of the Judaism within herself. It's called battered child syndrome. God forbid, if you take a child and beat him, one, not you, one takes a child and beats him over and over and over again. Eventually the child begins to think that it's his fault, that if he simply changes who he is, then the beatings will end. We as the Jewish people have been mercilessly persecuted for 2,000 years. 2,000 years. Believe me that a syndrome or two begin to develop. And eventually the Jewish people start saying, it's our fault. If we simply deny who we are, deny our identity, change ourselves, if we assimilate, then the persecution will end. But we all know the exact opposite is true. If we proudly accept our Judaism, if we proudly reconnect to who we are, reconnect to our Torah, to our land, to our God, only then will the persecution really end.
If you haven't noticed, this week's show is about Jewish pride. I love radio show interviews, and that's not just because of Ishai Fleischer. I just love it. When I'm in America, I try to get on as much radio as I can, as much TV as I can, just to help get the message out. And I love it when anti-Semites call in, because it's always fun to expose them and really finally share the truth about Israel. But on this last trip, I got a phone call, and the guy presented himself not as an anti-Semite, but as a Jew. And he comes in, and this is after about 30 minutes of sharing all of our views about Israel, all of our views about the land and the people. And he says, I want you to know, Jeremy, you're a minority. You're a minority in Israel, and you're a minority in America, and you're a minority in the world. You are a fraction of world opinion. So I took a deep breath. And I said, my dear Jewish brother, if that were the measure by which we judged truth, then you better convert to Catholicism or move to China and become a Hindu, because you, my Jewish friend, are a tiny, tiny minority, a fraction of world population. The Jewish people are a light amongst the entire world. Avraham was called a Hebrew, but in Hebrew he was called an Ivri. And the Midrash says an Ivri milashon over. He was on the other side. It was one man against the entire world. Everyone thought that he was crazy or wrong, and he is the father of all the Jewish people. So fraction of a fraction is what we're all about. It's what we were all about. And it's finally time that the Jewish people love our role of being the odd man out, of being that shining light in all the darkness, bringing a real truth to the world. Just as Abraham did, so we should do. And reconnecting to the spirit of Abraham is the source of Jewish pride.
Now, Abraham, as Jeremy said, was on one side, and the rest of the entire world was on the other. And, nothing has really changed since then. People would say, well, your truth is your truth, and my truth is my truth, and we're each entitled to our own truth. No one's is better than the other. Live and let live. Nothing had changed. It was the same message. Imagine the character and the courage it took to stand and say, no, there is one truth. There's an absolute truth. There's a story in the Midrash where Avraham was told by his father Terach to guard his idol store. Now Terach was an idolater, one of the leading idolaters, and he had a store that sold idols. And he said, Avraham, guard the store. So Avraham was guarding the store, and a woman came to the store with a plate of flour, and she said, Abraham, could you please put this in front of one of the idols? So Abraham took it and put it in front of one of the idols. He then took a bat and went and smashed every single idol in the room other than one big idol, destroying, shattering millions of rubles worth of idols. Rubles, I don't know what the currency was. Pieces of salt. And he put the bat in the hands of the largest idol and put the plate right in front of it. And Terach, his father, walked in the room and said, what in the world happened in my store? What happened? And Avraham said, well, a woman came with flour, and I put it in front of one of the idols, and they started fighting over it and arguing who was going to eat first, and a brawl broke out. plates were being thrown, and this big idol took a bat and smashed and destroyed every single other idol. And his father said, "What, are you mocking me? Do they have minds?" And Avraham Avinu, Abraham, looked at his father, and he said, "Can your ears not hear what your mouth is saying?" Now keep in mind, this was a capital offense to destroy idols. And Terach could not tolerate it anymore, and he took Abraham, his son, to the king Nimrod. And Nimrod said, "Abraham, worship fire. That is what we worship, and I will allow you to live if you worship fire." And Abraham said, "But water can extinguish fire." Nimrod said, "Okay, so worship water." And Abraham said, "Well, clouds gather together all of the water." So Nimrod said, "Okay, so worship the clouds." And Abraham said, "Well, don't you understand? The wind disperses the clouds. How can I worship clouds when the wind disperses them?" So Nimrod said, "Okay then, worship the wind." And Abraham said, "But man is not moved by wind." So Nimrod says, "Wait a second, you remember we were talking about fire? So worship fire right now, or I will throw you in it." And Abraham said, "So throw me in." He would not, for one moment, accept falsehoods, accept lies. He would sacrifice his life for truth. That is the Jewish heritage. That is Jewish pride.
Ari and I speak to a lot of college kids, Jewish groups, non-Jewish groups, and it's fascinating to see the non-Jewish groups that are anti-Israel, they are so convinced that they're right and that we're wrong. They're absolutely pro-Palestinian all the way uncompromisingly. And when you hear the knowledgeable Jews that are on college campuses, you always hear something like, "Well, you know, we all have our own truths, and we need to see both sides of the situation, and we're a little bit right, and probably they're a little bit right, and we're a little bit wrong, and they're a little bit wrong." And if these two forces are going up against each other, one that is strong, resolute, confident, convicted, that knows that he's right, and another group that's kind of wishy-washy, who's going to win that battle? Jews are so knowledgeable. We're so smart. It's such a beautiful thing. All the Jews that are knowledgeable on campus, they know all of the arguments to make about the 1967 borders, but the PLO was founded in 1964, and the 1948 lines and the boundaries. Well, the war in 1967 happened, but that happened because all of the rational arguments the Jews know how to make. But the problem that we found is that Jews know it up here, but we don't know it right here. Some of the Jews forget why Israel is our homeland. We forget why Israel is the home of all the Jewish people, why it's the heart and soul of our nation, and we believe we need to change the curriculum. We need to start teaching that the history of Israel didn't start 60 years ago, and Zionism didn't start in the 1800s. The majesty and destiny of the Jewish people spans millennia, and our lives in Israel are the culmination and climax of that destiny. We are now reconnecting to the heritage, the most powerful and profound destiny in world's history. That is the source of Jewish pride.
This week was a devastating week for the Jewish people. An Arab terrorist, an Israeli citizen with the blue cards that we all have, a citizen, a full-fledged citizen of Israel, marches in to Merkaz Harav Yeshiva and in point-blank range guns down 8 innocent boys, 8 innocent yeshiva students. Many of them died, breathed their last breath face down in their sfarim, in their books, in their blood-soaked books with their own blood. The whole nation, the whole country was in shock. We were all devastated. I had the privilege of attending 2 of the Shiva homes. 2 Shiva homes, 2 houses of mourning of 2 of these young boys, of Segev Avichail and of Avraham Moses. And I left, and I was broken. And I went to the bank. I needed to go to the bank. And life must somehow, despite this tragedy, despite all of our broken hearts, my life must go on. And I walked in, and the teller at the bank saw the pain in my eyes. And he said to me, the teller at the bank, he said, never forget what God said to Aaron when he took his 2 sons. He said, Bekrovai ekadesh, with those closest to me, with those I love the most, I am sanctified. And we sat there together. We all saw the news around the world. We saw the headlines. The cycle of violence continues. One headline said, 2 Palestinians killed. 2 Palestinians killed. And then in the small text, while attacking a yeshiva, a Jewish place of learning, but that's what they focused on? How much more of this can we possibly endure? How long before we stand in front of the entire world with the courage and the conviction of Abraham, with Abraham our father, and say there is a good and there is an evil, there is a truth and there is a falsehood, and never again will we tolerate evil.
Jewish pride is the only answer. As we keep on looking for the world's attention, to be accepted by the world, our destiny is to change the world, to bring tikkun olam, to bring the world to the next level, and that will force us always to challenge the world on every front. Right now we're being faced with great challenges in Israel, and we now have the opportunity to step up to the plate and bring a real light to the Jewish people around the world, and bring a real light to all nations around the world. But that will only happen when the Jewish people finally stand up as proud Jews.
Clap along and sing along. Bekaro beyamenu, bekaro beyamenu, benyan olam. Ubeneo, beneo, beneo, to bekaro beyamenu, bekaro beyamenu, benyan olam. Kise David, David Abdecha, oy mera betocha tachin. Kise David, David Abdecha, oy mera betocha tachin. Yerushalayim Echa. אוי ברחמים תשוב תשכון בתוכה, תשכון בתוכה כאשר דיברת ירושלים עירך. אוי ברחמים תשוב תשכון בתוכה, תשכון בתוכה כאשר דיברת. bekaro beyamenu, bekaro beyamenu, binyan olam. Ubeneo, neo, neo, to bekaro beyamenu, bekaro beyamenu, binyan olam. Kise David, David Abdecha, oy mera betocha tachin. Kise David, David Abdecha, oy mera betocha tachin. Yerushalayim אוי ברחמים תשוב תשכון בתוכה, תשכון בתוכה כאשר דיברת ירושלים עירך. אוי ברחמים תשוב תשכון בתוכה, תשכון בתוכה כאשר דיברת.
started off the evening with a slow song. And then after such a powerful half, we end off with such a happy, upbeat song. And that's because in Eternal People, we're not afraid of a long path. We've been through so much, and this is just the beginning. We're back in the land of Israel, and we're never going to leave. We're talking about Jewish pride tonight. In every show, we meet the streets of Jerusalem. We go down and we have a chance to show the world the real Jerusalem, the real people of the land. And you guys want to see something amazing? Watch the pride that Ari Abramowitz evokes out of these Jews while I was in America. Because we want you to meet the street.
And now, meet the street with Ari and Jeremy.
Here in the epicenter of Japanese love for Israel and the Jewish people. Why do you love the Jewish people?
We pray shalom for Israel.
Shalom for Israel. Why do you love the Jewish people? All they can say is that the nation of Israel lives, and I think they're right. Shalom, what is your name?
Shaul.
Shaul what?
Harabait.
Harabait?
Yes.
The Temple Mount is your last name.
It's my name, yeah. Shaul Tion Harabait.
Did you name yourself that?
Yes.
Why did you pick the Temple Mount to be your last name?
I figured it's something that's been neglected over 2,000 years.
That's definitely a proper name. A lot of Jews, keep a portion of their wall unfinished, break the glass, but that's a new one. The Temple Mount is a last name.
We were given a tafkid, we were given a mission from Hashem, Har Sinai, to be a light unto the nations and to be in Eretz Israel and build a society based on Torah.
יש לך שאלה? אתה גאה להיות יהודי, כן או לא?
אני יהודי.
אתה גאה?
בטח.
בטח, בטח! What's your name?
My name is Menachem.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York.
Do you live here in Israel now?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Other times you live in New York.
Right.
Is that painful for your soul to be in New York?
On occasion, yes.
Because you have to sing Shir HaMalot before benching. How are you going to sing the song of Hashem on Gentile soil?
That's a difficult question. I don't have the answer.
But the bottom line is you love Israel.
Very much.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Daniel Herman.
Daniel Herman, where are you from?
I am from the Czech Republic, from the very heart of Europe.
From the Czech Republic, from the heart of Europe, and you're here in Jerusalem. Why?
Yes, because we are here with a crew of the Czech television and we are filming a documentary about the steps of the old rabbis from the old times, ancient times.
Why are the people of Czechoslovakia interested in the rabbis of ancient times?
Because there are roots of our culture, of our identity, and I think it's very important to be informed about the roots of our own identity.
God chose us people to be His people, and I believe it's a thing we should be proud.
Noam Rosenman.
Noam Rosenman. Noam, why are you proud to be a Jew?
The Jews are what keeps God's flame alive in the world, and the world exists only on the merit of the Jews keeping God's laws, so I'm proud to be part of that team.
We're proud to have you as part of the team, Noam. Thank you.
All right.
Shalom, what is your name?
Aaron Mordechai Skolnik Ben Uri.
Aaron Mordechai Skolnik Ben Uri. Remember that name because why?
Because probably I have a good chance to be the next Prime Minister of Israel.
The next Prime Minister of Israel. That would be a beautiful thing.
What do you want? No.
I want to ask you why you're proud to be a Jew.
Yeah. Yes.
Why?
Yes, of course. Why? I feel so.
In your neshama, in your soul, you feel it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is your name?
Daniel Hartstark.
Daniel, why are you proud to be a Jew?
We've been in exile for 2,000 years, and we're back living in our homeland. We see relics of the past. If anyone ever questioned what we did in the past, if it was true, they could just come to Jerusalem and see the Temple Mount, Har Bayit, everything that we've been saying, everything that we've been doing. We're working towards something, and it's amazing to be part of that.
We're here with the mobile blood unit of Jerusalem. Unfortunately, it's needed all too much. We're going to ask some people why they're proud to give their blood to the Jewish people. Excuse me, what is your name?
Noach Isaacs.
Noach Isaacs. Noach Isaacs, why are you proud to give your blood to the Jewish people?
I feel it's my duty to respect and help any person I could in Israel and any Jew in the world.
You know, it says in the Tanakh, "B'damai chayich," with your blood you shall live, and you're literally giving your lifeblood to the Jewish people. What an honor.
That's the least I could do.
Amen. Holy Jew.
Thank you.
Do you live here in Israel?
I'm here for about 5 months.
Are you Jewish?
No.
Are you proud of the Jewish people?
Yes.
Why?
I also think that this is also a chosen land.
I am the future Prime Minister of Israel, perhaps the King of Israel. I'm very proud to be a Jew.
I'm proud to be a Jew.
The Czech Republic is proud of the Jewish people, yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I'm also Jew, you know.
You're a Jew also? That's great.
Thank you.
Mormons are proud of the Jewish people.
Daniel and Ariella Hartstark are proud to be Jews.
Yeah.
Excuse me, why are you proud of the Jewish people?
No, I'm
Why are you proud of the Jewish people? Okay, so my Korean's a little rusty, but I think she's saying, I'm here in Jerusalem, and the Jewish people are such a light unto the nations. Bring all of the Jews of Korea back to Israel. Yes. And the schnitzel is great. And the falafel too. Wow. Unbelievable.
Now this is the real heart of the show when we go out into the crowd and we really see what Jewish pride is all about. And like every show, we always start with a man who embodies Jewish pride, a man who walks Jewish pride, a man who is Jewish pride. And for the first time, I get to be with him, Ishai Fleischer. So tell us, Ishai, what is Jewish pride all about?
Well, hello, is this on?
This on?
Yep, okay. So I'll tell you what Jewish pride is about, my friends. Today, as you can see, I'm in a three-piece suit. This is just two pieces of it. And the reason I'm wearing it is because I just came back from the Knesset. And today at the Knesset, yes, you could actually probably, inside you feel it's like saying boo, right? You want to say boo, but you know you're on TV, so you're not saying boo. That's nice. But I want you to know that today I was at the first ever committee to encourage Western Aliyah. So the land of Israel is calling you home. The God of Israel is calling you home. Now the government of Israel is calling you home. Now, Jeremy, you talked about a fraction of a fraction. Fraction of a fraction. Let me tell you about a person who was a fraction of a fraction. His name was Mordechai, the Jew. Okay? Now, you know why he was a fraction of the fraction? Because everybody else of the Jewish people at that time, they were like, Haman walked by, they're like, oh, Haman, how you doing? Oh, good to see you, sir. Yes, yes, can I shine your shoes? Yes. And they went to this big banquet, and they, you know, at this banquet, they were drinking from the cups, the vessels of the temple, and they were like, temple schmemple. They were totally assimilated. Totally assimilated, the Jews. Okay? Then there was this one kutz, one thorn, in the Jewish people's side, and also on Haman's side, and this guy's name was Mordechai. He was the one guy that wouldn't bow down. Now Haman walked around, and all the Jewish people, imagine this whole audience would bow down, except for this one girl, okay? And he would walk past, Haman would walk past, everybody would be like, yes sir, it's good to see you, sir. And this one guy was like, no, I don't think so. And yeah, before you clap, I want you to know that the Jewish people said to Mordechai, are you nuts, man? You're driving us crazy. You're going to get us in hot water. You're going to get us in trouble. Okay? But Haman, instead of enjoying the fact that 99% of the Jews bow down to him, he went home and was like, I cannot deal with the fact that this one Jew won't bow down. I cannot deal with it. And not only that, not only can I not deal with this one Jew, I'm going to kill all the Jews, even those who bow down to me, because they are Am Mordechai. They are the nation of Mordechai. Nation of Mordechai, they were the opposite of Mordechai, the quintessential opposite of Mordechai. They wanted to get rid of him. He was driving them insane. He was the fraction of a fraction. So my question to you, Jeremy, is why would Haman pick this one Jew and he would say, this whole nation is like him, when they were nothing like him.
I think he knew the truth. I think he knew that in the soul of every Jew, thanks for putting me on the spot, by the way.
No problem.
The soul of every Jew is a soul of Mordechai. That's why we're called Mordechai. And the soul of every Jew wants to stand up and be proud and quote the Torah when they speak about Israel and talk about God like they really believe in him. That is the soul of every Jew, and Mordechai manifested it.
Well, at that time, he hadn't manifested it yet because everybody else was on the other side. He was the Ivri, as you said before, but everybody else was on the other side. But Haman, he knew that within every Jew is the potential to be inspired and revolutionized and to stand up and to become a light unto the nations. He knew that this Mordechai had the power in him to inflame, to turn on, to just burst out every single Jew. And he was right. And that's why he sought to destroy him. This week, 8 young men were killed. Why did this terrorist go into this place? Why did he go into this yeshiva? Why did he go to this particular yeshiva, not a different one? Because he knew that these young men represent the future of the Jewish people. He knew that although the religious Zionist public is pushed to the sides and nobody wants to say, nobody likes the settlers, nobody likes that whole business, he knew that they had the they had the potential to inspire every single Jew in the land of Israel. He wanted to wipe them out. He knew that these kids are the future of the Jewish people and they can turn on the fire of this place.
I think it's about time we all turn on the fire of all the Jews in the land of Israel. What do y'all say?
I just want to finish up by quoting one of the great rabbis, Obi-Wan Kenobi. When he said, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you ever imagined. Yeah, you strike us down, we're going to burst, man. The dragon of the Jewish people is going to get up. We're going to be a light unto the nations. You cannot stop this people.
Ari Abramowitz, you are called onto the stage.
Now, I've been hearing a lot of talk backstage about lighting things on fire, making things happen, reigniting the passion of Israel. Now, I'm going to call up right now a guy named Safri Ronen. The honest truth is, I've never seen him before, but he said, I'm 1 meter 70, I have curly hair, I look like a kibbutznik. And I see him walking on stage now, and the truth is, I think he looks exactly like a kibbutznik. But something is a little bit different about Safrir. Safrir has started Nachalal Forum. Safrir, come on out. Nachalal Forum. Nachalal Forum is a group that is aiming to bring together the fractured elements of Israeli society, the secular Jews and the religious Jews. Bring everybody together, and really, at the core of it, that is what this is all about. That is the most important element that we're facing. Safir, please tell us a little bit about Nachalal Forum.
Nahalal is Moshav in Emek Israel. 1. I born in Kibbutz and Charot, which is not far from there. My grandfather and my grandmother came there when they were 18, when there were swamps and malaria disease. My grandma lived 8 years in a tent, like the settlers, with a muddy floor. My mother was born in En Charod Spring, probably you know where that, next to the Gilboa Mountain. She fought in 1948 war in Zion, Shar Zion over here. She lost a boyfriend. And we gather in Nahalal, Moshav Nahalal, all the kibbutzniks and the people from the old settlement, we called it, before about 6 months or 8 months before the destruction of Gush Katif. And we tell you why. This country has been brainwashed for the last 40 years since we free our land, that this is occupation, this is somebody else's land. They called it different names instead of Eretz Israel, Gada, occupied territories, every name they can make. Just one name they don't like to use, the media, Eretz Israel. And our kibbutz movement, which we used to be called the Kibbutz HaMuchad, we grew up on Eretz Israel Shlema. I myself, when I was 18, I established Kibbutz Gilgal in the Jordan Valley before the army.
Translate the words.
Gilgal is where Joshua crossed the Jordan. You remember the Gilgal in the Bible. And I'm coming from a place that people wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, start tractors, combines, plow the field, go to the fishing ponds, works the land. And this is our land.
Well, Safrir, you're from
Become sensitive.
You're from a different world than we're here in Jerusalem, a world of secular values of the kibbutz. Do you see a parallel, a similarity between the secular Zionist pioneers that so many of them which founded this country and today's religious settler movement?
We are not from different world. We are Jews. It means we're coming from Judea. I'm sorry, I didn't answer that.
I was looking for that answer.
I love you. We are the same. We are not from different world. And basically, I'm deal with the media. I'm a television person now for many years, for the last 20 years. But I'm also deal with history. And I was the last time in Hebron. I was with a group of kibbutzniks fighting these guys. We called them the psychological terror group, like Peace Now. We call them psychological terror group. We fight against them. And then a CNN came to me and asked him, hey, tell me, Safrir, you fight for nice against these guys, so nice. Tell me, when are you going to stop the occupation? I looked at that guy from the CNN. He works about 15 years in Israel. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? Do you know a small book called the Bible? Do you know that book? Open it and see to whom belongs that country. And you should tell anybody in the world, they should open the Bible. If his name is Kofi Annan, or maybe Tzipi Livni, or maybe Umart, or maybe this guy from Korea that's in the United Nations. This is our land. Simple.
The Bible, the Torah, is the deed to the land of Israel. I know that many of the founders of the state of Israel, that was their deed, that was their claim. If you, Safrir Ronet, if you were in charge in this country, if you were a leader, what would you do to fix things up?
What I do, I will change something very small. I'll tell to the world, this land is my land. And I'll settle this land with 100 more settlements. And I'll tell everybody else, this is the land of the Jews who came back to Judea. I mean, you cannot be Jew if you give Judea away. You cannot be Zionist. What's wrong with these guys? You cannot be Zionist if you give Zion away. Should I say something more? I tell you, when I have a fight with the lefties, usually when they invite me to kibbutzes, I'm a different creature. So I asked them, I was in one of the kibbutzes in the north of Galilee, in Shomer HaTzayir, and they told me, occupation, da-da-da. I said, you know what, guys, let's make a deal. I heard that Arabs are willing to make peace with all the Jews in the world under one condition. You're going to give the little cemetery of your kibbutz to the Arabs. That's it, little cemetery, that's all. They almost killed me, of course. Hey, our son's here, our grandfather, what you talking about? One lady came up and screamed, almost killed me. I said, you know what, okay, I accepted it. But 5 minutes ago, you're willing to give the graveyard of the Jewish nation to the enemy. You're willing to give Hebron. What is Hebron? This is our identity. Somebody spoke about Abraham here. Show me one nation in the world they're willing to give the basic places of identity. Show me the Americans willing to give the Statue of Liberty to make peace. Or Jefferson Memorial. Show me something like that. Show me the French guys. Show me the English people willing to give that. We don't need leaders. We need psychiatrists, this nation. Anyway, I'm going to tell you something very simple. They asked me when I was in Englewood about 2 months ago. Before Annapolis. No, it was more than 2 months, in November. And they didn't want to let me to speak in the shul, of course. The rabbi is very lefty. He gets contributions to Bosnia and Darfur and all the poor Muslim guys in the world. But when somebody comes from Israel to speak about Eretz Israel, this is very political issue. You understand? I got a letter. So I called that guy. I was in Nashville on the GA. And I was outside of the GA, and I was protesting against the Jews inside the GA. GA is a General Assembly. Who protests with me? Christians. I'm the only one from Israel, and maybe the only Jew in the world that were outside and said, hey, this land is our land. Very simple. So I called him with my cell phone from that demonstration, Sunday, and I told him, Rabbi, Eretz Israel is a political issue? Show me in the history of 2,000 years one rabbi that would come up one morning and say to his community, hey guys, I decided to give up Eretz Israel. Would he stay rabbi one more second? This is our identity. We took Eretz Israel in the Bible with us. That's the reason we didn't lose identity. So now, we're willing for a piece of paper to give our identity away. What is Shiloh? The Mishkan was there for 400 years. Hebron, Jerusalem. What is Eretz Israel? Eretz Israel is not Tel Aviv. Eretz Israel is here, right here. Right here. Sorry, maybe I speak too much.
Don't be sorry, brother. I want to wish you success in sending your message to the world and being the psychiatrist of this nation.
One more word. He got me 3 questions, so I'll answer the 3rd one. He asked me, there is something positive about here. So much negative. I tell you guys, the fact that we're here, and I see the young generation in Amona, in Gush Katif, in everywhere in Eretz Israel, there is a lot of positive. We just come tell the world, hey guys, this is our land. And we plan to stay here. And look what we did for the last 100 years. We are #1 in high-tech. We everywhere in the world. We are the most advanced nation on earth. Even the Israeli cow giving more milk than every other cow in the world. Maybe it's a spirit of that land.
It's also hormones.
So there is a lot of positive here. We're going to continue plow that land. We're going to build another 100 settlements every day. And we're going to make this land ours.
Yesterday in the morning, I went to the Shiva house, as I mentioned, the house of mourning, for Segev Avichail. He lives in Neve Daniel, a 15-year-old boy who was cruelly, viciously ripped away from his family, and I walked into his family's home. And honestly, I was very nervous. I was afraid to see a family shattered and broken, devastated, crying and screaming. And I walked in, and I saw a family so composed, so full of faith, so resolute. I was so inspired. A little boy, 15 years old, the same age as Segev Avichail. He was sitting in the room and there was silence. People were looking down. And he says, I would like to say something, Rabbi Avichail. Your son Segev, as you know, was my best friend. I always struggled in school socially, and he always stood by my side. And he always helped me. He was my chavruta, he was my study partner. What am I going to do? And the compassion in Rabbi Avichail's eyes. He went to the boy and he said, Segev isn't gone. He's still here. He's just ascended. It's different now, but he will always be with you. He will always protect you. There was not a dry eye in the room, including my own. Then Rabbi Avichail turns and looks at me, and he says, hello, welcome to my home. Who are you? He didn't want me to feel ignored, that he hadn't spoken to me. In his grief, he was thinking about my feelings. And I said, I'm just a hurting Jew. And he said, thank you so much for coming. And we sat there for a while in silence, looking down. And I got up, and I went to Rabbi Avichail, and I got down on my knees, and I said, Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Traditionally, Jews, we say this to a family in the house of mourning. We say Hashem should console you along with the remnant of mourners in Zion and in Jerusalem. And he said, thank you. And I said, Rabbi Avichail, do you have a message that you want to give to the entire world? He thought for a moment and he said to me, Yisrael Eretz HaChaim, Po HaChaim. He said, the land of Israel is the land of life. Here is life. Just days before his son was murdered, and he is saying that this is the land of life. The wisdom, the strength of this rabbi for my entire life will have changed me. You know, so many of us, we want to be remembered. If we can afford it, we plaster our name on the side of a big building, or we have an endowment named after us. We do whatever we can to perpetuate the memory of our name. And while many of those may be good causes, what is a name? It's just a title for a body that decomposes and turns to dirt. What really lives on after us? Our good deeds, our actions, our influence, how we have changed the world around us. Segev Avichail was immersed in the learning of Torah when he was murdered. Most of the students were off preparing for a big party. It was Rosh Chodesh Adar, a time of enjoyment, a time of celebration, but he wanted to hold every moment that he could and learn Torah. He loved Torah. He loved the land of Israel. He would go to hospitals and he would sing and he would dance for people who were sick, bringing them happiness. In his short life, he brought more light to the world than most people bring in their entire lives. I remember my very close friend, a big tzaddik, he's actually a journalist for Arutz Sheva. He was with me in the home of Rabbi Avichail, of the Avichail family. And he stood up to leave. And he went to Rabbi Avichail and he said, I want you to know that in my settlement, in my small city, in Sde Boaz, right next to Neve Daniel, we've dedicated a playground in memory of your son, Segev. And Rabbi Avichail looked at him with his compassionate eyes and said, I can never thank you enough. It means so much to me, but I ask you one thing. Please, dedicate Torah learning. Dedicate the learning of Torah, the learning of truth to my son, Segev. That's what he would want. That is what he stood for. He wanted Segev to live forever through the learning of truth in his merit and in his honor. When we first heard about the terrorist attack, we were sitting at the home of Rabbi Chaim Richman of the Temple Institute. It was Rosh Chodesh Adar. He was giving us cookies. He was whipping out his harmonica and playing the harmonica. We were having a wonderful time. He started teaching us the most incredible, brilliant Torah, secrets of the universe, about our name, about our purpose in the world. And then Yishai Fleischer, his pager went off, and the news came in. A pigua, a terrorist attack. Many wounded, heavy casualties. We didn't know what to do. We looked down with heavy hearts. We were trying to think, what could we say? Nobody said anything. Rabbi Richman, I saw, he was saying prayers. Now, you have to understand about Rabbi Richman. He's such a selfless man. He loses sleep at night over the pain of Israel and the Jewish people. And he looked down and he was saying his prayers, and then immediately he continued on. He didn't switch the subject. He didn't address the issue. He simply continued teaching Torah with more rigor and more passion. And at first I didn't understand why. Why would he do that? Why would he just continue on and not discuss it? And then I understood. That is the most beautiful thing he could have done. He was not going to let those terrorists win. He was not going to stop the learning of Torah in Israel. He was going to redouble his efforts. And that is exactly what all of us need to do. We cannot let those boys die in vain. We have to redouble our efforts and learn more Torah. Move to the land of Israel. We have to look Hamas in the eye and say, you terrorist cowards, we're not afraid of you. We're returning to the land of Israel, and we are here to stay. Shalom from Jerusalem.